Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're live tonight from Algona High School for the Crosstown Showdown in high school softball. No long road trips required for this one as the Algona Bulldogs host the Bishop Garrigan Golden Bears. We're getting started a little bit early here tonight. The JV game went by pretty quickly, so we're going to get this varsity game underway a few minutes early as the teams are out on the field finishing up their warm-ups here for tonight. Looking at the starting lineups, first for the visiting Bishop Garrigan Golden Bears, a couple of changes in the batting order. They'll lead things off with the center fielder, Alyssa Hoagland. Zoe Montag plays first base and bats second. Jenna Peterson in right field hitting third. Hannah Marin, the third baseman, batting cleanup. Lily Erpeling-Wickman at shortstop as she will bat fifth. Carly Nielsen, the designated player, batting sixth. Brooklyn Birdie does the pitching as she'll bat seventh. Molly Peterson at second, hitting eighth. Shiloh Trainer behind the dish, batting ninth. And Emma Garman, left fielder, is tonight's flex player for Bishop Garrigan. For the Algona Bulldogs, they'll have right fielder Caitlin Burns batting leadoff. Allison Trunkhill does the pitching tonight as she warms up right now. She's batting second. Reagan Haynes behind home plate as she will bat third. Maya Lentz, the shortstop, hitting cleanup. Kayla Busher at first base, hitting fifth. Ryan Haynes at second base, batting sixth. You have Charity Wilt, the designated player, batting seventh. Bella Jo Dunning at third base, hitting eighth. Landy Van Tiger in left field, batting ninth. And Gabby Van Tiger, the center fielder, tonight's flex player. Our video stream here tonight and all nights throughout the course of the season brought to you by our many great sponsors, including Algona Municipal Utilities, PMC Advantage Insurance Services, Iowa State Bank, Chemna Auto Center, and Algona Frame and Auto Body, all presenting sponsors here on the Algona Radio YouTube stream. Algona wearing the white home uniforms, the script Algona on the front in black numerals front and back, and the Red Sox. As going into the motion for the first pitch of the night is Trunkhill. She delivers, Hoagland takes. That is strike one, and we are underway for the Crosstown Showdown from Algona High School. Algona last season finished 11-16 overall. Their season opening game against Newman Catholic rained out yesterday. Bishop Garrigan 17-8 overall last season as they lost 15-10 against Belmont Clemmy. Trunkhill facing Bishop Garrigan for the first time in her career. The junior motions and delivers, and jabbing and missing at the bunt is Hoagland, and she is behind in the count. No balls and 2 strikes. Bishop Garrigan wearing the black uniforms tonight. The gold bears on the front, gold numerals front and back. The BG with the cross logo on the left sleeve, and the subtle pinstripes down the uniform as well. Black pants, black jersey tops. Hoagland, the lefty, awaits the pitch as that one is upstairs for a ball. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Trunkhill bursting onto the varsity scene last season with a 6-7 record, pitched in 21 games, 11 starts, as she threw 84 innings to the tune of a 2.92 ERA. Opponents batted .242 against Trunkhill as she struck out 61 batters compared to 28 walks. She and Haynes forming the 1-2 duo for the Bulldogs as Hoagland with a wave and a miss. That is strike 3 as we are underway here from Algona High School. Out number 1 recorded by Trunkhill. Well, Bishop Garrigan, they are 9-8 against Algona dating back to 2009. The Golden Bears have won the past 4 crosstown showdowns as Zoe Montag, one of the 3 seniors on Bishop Garrigan, steps into the box. The Garrigan seniors hoping to go a perfect 5-0 in the crosstown game in their career. As 1 out, nobody on base. The motion by Trunkhill and the delivery. Montag started to square but pulled the bat back as that one is down and away for a ball. 1-0 count. It's a little bit more breezy here tonight. A little bit of a breeze, but blowing out towards dead center, so that is a hitter's breeze, we'll say. If you get one in the air up into center field, that is getting a boost, at least here early in the game. Cloudy skies all across the board, and 61 degrees our temperature for tonight. The left-handed hitting Montag, who batted .446 last year, a career high, awaits the pitch from Trunkhill. Skips in the dirt low and outside for a ball, 2-0 count. Montag in her career, a .299 hitter for the Golden Bears. Hit her 3rd career home run last night. A go-ahead homer that gave Bishop Garrigan a 9-8 lead in the bottom of the 6th, although Belmont Clemmy would eventually rally to win that one. Trunkhill trying to fight back from a 2-0 count. There's a roller towards second base. Haynes knocks it down on the backhand, picks it up, throws to first, and not in time to get the speeding Montag. They will say that Busher's foot came off the base. I did think that throw was there, maybe a step ahead of Montag, but the umpire's ruling was not that Montag beat the throw, but that Busher's foot did not stay on the bag, so the Golden Bears will have an early base runner for Jenna Peterson, the number 3 hitting right fielder. This is one of the couple of changes that the Bishop Garrigan coaching staff has made, led by Coach Paige Purdy. Peterson moving up to the 3 hole here tonight. They're also putting Lillian Erpeling-Wickman at shortstop tonight, as she was the designated player last night, switching that off of Carly Nielsen. And that pitch is a little bit low and outside. Ball 1 here to Peterson. Well, this game started about 15 minutes early here tonight, folks. I was going to give you guys a couple pregame interviews. We talked with Coach Todd Van Otterloo of the Bulldogs before the season, as well as Coach Paige Purdy of the Bishop Garrigan Golden Bears. If you're a Golden Bear fan listening, you heard Coach Purdy's interview last night. As the 1-0 pitch, there's a roller towards the middle. Trunkhill knocks it down on the arm side, throws to first base, and in time to get Peterson as Montag goes up to second base. That bobble erases any possibility of the double play, but the Golden Bears now have a runner in scoring position and 2 away. So runner up to second base, 2 outs. And Hannah Marin, the cleanup hitting third baseman, coming to the dish. Marin, first home run of the season last night at 8th of her career. A career .354 hitter of 7 homers and at 90 RBI coming into the season before last night. A couple big base hits, RBI double on that home run. But anyways, if you want to hear the preseason interviews of Coach Van Otterloo and Coach Purdy, you can go to our website, algonaradio.com, with a season preview article on both teams, and you can hear audio cuts from the coaches and the players over on our website. In the meantime, though, here we are underway from Bulldog Park on a breezy night. Golden Bears with the early scoring opportunity. Runner at second base, 2 away. Here's the windup by Trunk-Hill. She fires in the pitch and kept it away outside to Marin as the count evens up 1 ball and 1 strike. Erpelding, Wickman on deck. Nielsen in the hole for the Golden Bears, looking to strike first tonight after playing from behind most of last night against Belmont Clemmy. Defensively for the Bulldogs, it's Haynes behind home plate, Dunning at third, Lentz at short, Haynes at second, Busher at first. Left to right across the outfield, it's Van Tiger, and Burns, with Lainey Van Tiger in left and Gabby Van Tiger in center. A 2-1 count now on Hannah Marin, who will step out of the box and then step back in. Marin hits up near the front of the box, as Trunk-Hill doesn't bring overwhelming velocity, but she does bring some excellent control for Algona, and she's able to really pinpoint that ball. Marin, underneath that one, fouls it back over the screen, and the count now even, 2 balls and 2 strikes. No score here between Bishop Garrigan and Algona. Top half of inning number 1 from Algona High School. The Algona baseball team playing Emmitsburg on the diamond over to our left. We'll try to keep you folks updated on that score throughout the course of the night, as well as we have the vantage point where you can see the scoreboard here tonight. The wind and pitch by Trunk-Hill, and a wave and a miss by Marin. Trunk-Hill had her totally fooled and out on her front foot. That is out number 3 of the inning. The Golden Bears do not score. They leave runner on second base, and it'll be the Bulldog half of the first coming up next on Hometown Radio KLGA and the Algona Radio YouTube stream.
More sports club members.
Lusher Family Dentistry, serving your family since 1965 on Call Street in Algona.
Algona Plumbing and Heating, where a good flush beats a full house.
Kasuth Regional Health Center, your home for health care.
Walker Chiropractic and Wellness, caring for Algona, Sway City, and surrounding areas with chiropractic, nutritional, and physical therapy services.
Reeves Wicked Good Bar and Grill, for wicked good food, drinks, and service, you gotta go to Reeves.
High Point Land Company, your trusted land partner in Algona.
All bringing you this game on the radio.
Thank you to these sports club members bringing you this game on Hometown Home Country Radio.
CB Grain Solutions, satisfaction guaranteed.
Dump It, Kasuth County's local and reliable waste service provider for commercial and residential customers.
Albert Electric, flip the switch to Albert Electric.
Billy Offerman, your State Farm agent in Algona. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Greg Penning and Company, certified public accountants where everyone counts.
Daylight Donuts, open early with delicious donuts and great coffee.
All bringing you this game on the radio.
And we move to the bottom half of the first inning from Algona High School. No score between the Algona Bulldogs and Bishop Garrigan Golden Bears in this high school softball matchup between the 0-1 Bears and the 0-0 Bulldogs playing in their first game of the season. Leading off, it'll be Burns, Trunk-Hill, and Haynes for Algona going up against Brooklyn Birdie. And Birdie had certainly some ups and downs last night against Belmont Clemmy. Definitely saw some good things in that game, but also saw some control issues from both her and Rakai Nielsen, who pitched as the Golden Bears walked 14 Bronco batters last night. So aim number 1 here for Bishop Garrigan is really just throw strikes here, force the Algona hitters to beat you, and if you're the Bulldogs, it's put pressure on the defense. That's something that Coach Todd Van Otterloo talked about before the season. He wants to see less strikeouts, more balls in play, and the Bulldogs utilizing the speed. Speaking of speed, Caitlin Burns, big cut and miss that first pitch, 0-1 count. Burns was thinking extra bases of that swing as she's behind 0-1. But Burns, a state track and field relay member for the Algona Bulldogs in their 4x1 and 4x2, which set a couple of school records down at Drake Stadium in Des Moines, utilizing that speed in the leadoff spot, as that one is an off-speed pitch that stays a little bit upstairs. The count evens, 1 ball and 1 strike on Burns. Burns, for her career, a .266 batter for Algona. Last year, Burns batted .263, 13 runs driven in. And the only Bulldog in double digits in steals as Birdie winds and delivers and sails that upstairs for a ball, 2-1 count. Well, folks, we're going to welcome Beanie Bodie onto the broadcast here as he joins us tonight. Beanie, they started the game 15 minutes early on you. I know you were pedaling that bike, furious pace to get here.
You know, that is no excuse. I could be late either way. I'm not known for my punctuality. I was taught that the world doesn't revolve around me. So lesson learned tonight here with the early start. But I heard you all the way in as I raced into the car, Tyler. We're already into a good one here.
Well, birdie now with a 2-2 count on Burns here as we play in the bottom half of inning number 1. The wind down the pitch, and she skipped that one in the right-handed batter's box, and the count goes full, 3 balls and 2 strikes. Well, we're going to see a lot of different pitchers this year for the Bishop Garrigan Golden Bears. Coach Purdy sticking with Brooklyn Birdie as the starter here tonight, but much like the Algona Bulldogs might have a combo of Trunkill and Haynes, we may see a combo of Birdie and 1 or 2 other pitchers tonight for the Golden Bears as well. 3-2 pitch sails way upstairs for ball 4, and Burns does her job. Leadoff walk to get aboard to start things off.
Brooklyn Birdie missing upstairs. That was her problem last night. Second consecutive night with kind of a damp field. She keeps wiping that hand off. Maybe having a hard time getting a grip, but whatever the case, that release has really been a bugaboo for her in his first 2 outings.
And that will bring Allison Trunkill to the plate, as she batted .250 last year, 10 for 40 at the dish. As that first offering, ball 1. Burns at first base. Algona, a team that really steals very sparingly, but we'll see if the speed of Burns, they decide to try to challenge Trainer at some point. Bulldogs really prefer to hit their way around the bases for the most part. As Montag creeps in at first base, as does Marin at third. The wind in the pitch, that one hit in the air well towards center field. Chasing it back, Hoagland. She reverses directions, and it's over her head. This is going to be a foot race around the bases. Burns got a late break, and she is getting the stop sign at third. It is second and third. Nobody out for the Bulldogs here, as Hoagland turned one way, then got turned back around with that wind twisting the ball up there, and it's a double for Allison Trunkill.
Boy, that ball got a little bit of a ride off the bat, but even another boost from the wind. I didn't think it was going to carry that far. Either did Hoagland. It looked like she had a beat on it, but like you said, Tyler, she got twisted up. That's a nightmare for outfielders. You start one way, then you have to drop step, turn the other way, slows you down. But good, well-hit ball. That wind just kept it going, Tyler. We might see some balls carry a long ways tonight if they get up there in that breeze.
This is a very hitter-friendly night as Emma Spear courtesy runs at second base for the pitcher. That is the first extra base hit in the career of Allison Trunkill, and the Bulldogs have runners at second and third. And this is big early for Algona because last year in the crosstown game, Bishop Garrigan blanked Algona 5-0, and the Bulldogs only had 3 total base runners in that game, 2 hits and 1 hit by pitch, as Reagan Haynes, the dangerous number 3 hitter, fouls that one back. Haynes led the way for Algona, hitting over 300 with 4 homers and 16 runs knocked in, as the sophomore catcher now faces an 0-1 count.
Well, this should be a memorable night for Allison Trunkill, collecting her first big hit. She drives a deep double to center, and courtesy ran for, so she can get ready to pitch.
And that ball skips in, it goes to the backstop, but Burns did not get a read on that at third base. And this is not a small backstop. Much like Bishop Garrigan has a pretty small foul territory behind home plate, really not a ton of room behind this Algona plate either.
Boy, this is a beautiful field. We drive right past this field so often throughout the year. Now we got this great perch up here in this vantage point. Beautiful scene.
1-1 pitch to the backstop again. Trainer right after it, and Burns staying at third base. Well, you don't want to make that first out at home plate if you're Burns, certainly trying to take a risk on a play like that, so she's playing it pretty conservative at third. And Trainer tried to jump up and barehand that ball because that was way off to the right. 2-1 pitch, and that one caught the high outside corner. Haynes now faces a 2-2 count.
Yeah, Trainer's quick behind the plate. She's going to be quick to that backstop. They caught someone trying to get home on a pass ball last night. I doubt Burns read the scouting report, but why risk it with no outs? She's already at third.
The 2-2 is hit hard, deep right center field, and that one's a gapper. Burns is coming home to score from third base. Haynes is cruising to second of the double, and they are sending Spear home as well. A big 2-bagger for Reagan Haynes to the opposite field, and Algona jumps in front, 2-0 in inning number 1.
No doubt about that power. She drove that ball at one hops the fence with power. Right between the 2 fielders, Peterson and Hoagland, met at the same time. And now Haynes will get a break as she's going to get ready to do her catching duties. Another courtesy runner comes in for the Bulldogs.
Algona will send Taylor Van Otterloo to second base as Reagan Haynes hits double number 15 of her career. And early on, this Bulldog offense picking up some extra base hits. Coach Van Otterloo talked a little small ball in the preseason interview, but no small ball here tonight, as that first offering is in there for a called strike. Caught the corner to Maya Lentz, the shortstop.
Yeah, definitely not. They were camping on the bases during pass balls, waiting for that big drive, and they got what they asked for.
Lentz, the right-handed hitting sophomore, took over as a starting shortstop last season for Algona as a freshman, as she will watch that one go a bit above the letters for a ball to even the count 1-1. Lentz wearing the long white sleeves underneath her jersey. Showed some major raw power last year, 3 home runs. I think the next step that the coaches want to see is those strikeouts go down, as she did strike out a team leading 26 times. The wind on the 1-1 pitch, and that is flied in the air towards right field, pretty well hit near the line. Tracking it is Peterson, and it's off her glove. It's off her glove as being waved around Van Otterloo. She's coming home to score. Lentz to third base. The throw misses the cutoff man, but Lentz will stop right there. Peterson just couldn't bring that one in right field, and the Bulldogs jump in front 3-0 here in inning number 1.
No, it was a right-handed batter, and she drove it to the right field line, and that always has some spin on it. It was spinning away from Jenna Peterson out in right field, and the wind carrying it right off the top of her glove. Another good contact for the Bulldogs. This is Brooke and Birdie's nightmare here. She's doing what the coach is asking, throwing strikes, and the Bulldogs are just ripping it.
Yeah, there's an adjustment from one night to the next, and maybe sometimes you over-adjust a little bit, but I think the coach would rather see this. You put the ball in the strike zone and you force Algona to do this in inning number 1, as Kayla Busher, that is, takes ball 1, and now takes ball 2 as the count goes 2-0.
Yeah, you give those fielders a chance to make plays. They had a chance on that ball to right field, but other than that, the Bulldogs have just been squarely ripping that ball.
Birdie rocks into the motion and fires the 2-0. Ground ball down the third base side, and that one is just foul. Busher trying to put that one down to the left field corner, but just a bit out in front of it as the count goes 2-1.
And one thing I have enjoyed these first 2 nights of the season of Collins Sports, Tyler, is that the teams we see are swinging the bat. No one is camping out in that batter's box looking to draw a walk.
Well, when you wait all winter for the season to come, you better come out swinging when the season gets rolling, as Busher got jammed and fought that one off to the first base side, foul, and the count's 2-2.
Yeah, there was another swing by Busher. I think that was a strike low and outside, but yeah, she's not going to watch anything go by. A lot of aggressive hitters here.
It's one of those cooler nights, too, where a ball like that kind of reverberates off the bat and stings her hand as the pitch is upstairs to make the count 3-2. In spite of that, though, everyone, like you said, ready to gear up and swing, as Birdie has a full count right now with Busher.
A little bit of sunshine poking through the clouds here at Bulldog Park.
First time we've seen the sun in a little bit, as there's a ball hit to third, and Marin got her glove underneath. She steps on the bag, and that's a double play. Hannah Marin makes the play, and that's one where the runner at third, Maya Lutz, just gets caught in between that low line drive. Will it skip? Will it not? And she got caught off of third base for a double play.
Yeah, just ripped right at Marin. She didn't even have to move. She's got great reflexes, flips that glove down, snares it, steps on the base. Exactly right, Tyler. Lenz didn't have a chance to get back.
Yeah, if you read that one perfectly, maybe you sprint back to the base and get there in time, but that just gets there so quickly. It's hard to make that read as a base runner as Ryan Haynes takes ball 1.
Yeah, the only hope for the Bulldogs was that that ball was so low that the umpire didn't see whether she caught it or snagged it off the dirt.
Well, you could see all the fielders and base runners hesitate, too, as they were waiting for the home plate umpire to raise that right hand to make the call, but Marin did get the glove underneath, and that was a sorely needed double play for the Golden Bears, who trail 3-0 here against Algona.
And as all umpires say, well, that was obvious to me. Didn't everyone else see that? I saw it clearly. It was a catch. There has been a few disagreements in the world of umpiring.
Yeah, the umpires, they'll take a little grief from time to time, especially now, all this talk of robo-umpires potentially coming to Major League Baseball and the challenge system and whatnot, as that pitch will find the strike zone for a 3-1 count.
Well, Tyler, I know you are the quintessential sportsman, and I don't think you've never got after an umpire, have you?
Me? What? No, never. 3-1 pitch, and that skips in there for ball 4 as Haynes draws the walk and heads to first base.
That is why you like the sport of running. There is no umpiring telling you who crosses the finish line.
It is a very objective sport, but there's also a beauty to the game of baseball and softball where, as a batter and a catcher and a pitcher, you're all trying to figure out what's the umpire calling tonight. Is he giving me the outside corner? Is it a high or a low strike zone? I think there's an excitement and sort of a beauty in figuring that out as the game goes on. Into the batter's box right now, Charity Wilt, designated player for Algona, squares to bunt. Stealing second is Haynes. Throw down by Trader. Close play, but sliding in safely is Haynes. She swipes the bag at second, and the Bulldogs have another runner in scoring position.
Yeah, she earned that second base. It was a good throw down by Trainer on the money. Peterson was there to receive the throw. That was all on Haynes' speed and jump. She swipes that base cleanly.
Ryan Haynes now 17 for 20 in her career in stolen base attempts. It's a 1-0 count here on Wilt, who's crouched in the right-handed box. That ball skips in and nicely blocked behind home plate by Trainer as the count goes 2-0. Bulldogs only stole 39 bases last year, so like I said, they're not a team that runs a ton, but Haynes picked a spot right there of 2 outs to get into scoring position. On deck for Algona is Bella Jo Dunning, as Wilt is the 7th batter of the inning. Algona up 3-0, as that pitch is up at chin level for a ball and a 3-0 count.
Boy, these hitters are already well in stride. So earlier in the season to see hitters looking so confident in the batter's box with their eye and their adjustments. It's very impressive. Shows that off-season work.
The 3-0 pitch, that one is taken all the way, and it's in the dirt anyways as Haynes is going to steal third. Ryan Haynes got a great jump on that one as she takes third, and Charity Wilt draws the walk to keep the inning going.
Well, that's some opportunistic base running. That's such a great time to swipe third base when there's a ball 4, and you catch that team thinking, just it's a ball 4, but Yeah, she could take third. Great opportunistic base running there.
Bella Jo Dunning now bats. Only had 4 at-bats for varsity last year for Algona as she squares around, pulls the bat back, heading towards second base, and going there without a throw is Wilt as trainer pump fake towards third, but nothing doing there of Haynes on the defensive indifference. So second and third for the Bulldogs, and a critical out here for Brooklyn Birdie to get. Down 3-0 are the Golden Bears as Birdie winds and delivers. And a pitch that's called a strike there, a little delayed call, but that one looked like it had the plate as the count's even at 1-1. Second and third right now for Algona. Haynes at third base, Wilt at second. Dunning choked up on that right-handed bat and watches that one go off the inside corner for a ball. 2-1 count. Outfield straight away for Algona. Out in left field and over at third base. That's where you're getting a lot of sun as Hannah Marin, the third baseman, shades her eyes from the sun, that is, as the pitch is upstairs. And Birdie behind here, 3-1 against Dunning.
Well, this has turned into a long inning for Birdie. There's no pitch count, but as many batters have gone through, she's got to be well up around 30 pitches so far this inning.
Birdie rocks and offers up the 3-1. Dunning takes, and that is ball 4. So bases are full of Bulldogs with 2 outs, and that's the thing. This is the part of the batting order you have to attack. Early on, she was throwing strikes to that big 1-2-3 punch, or top 4 on the top of the Bulldog order even, but now here when you're getting through that 7, 8, 9 spot, you've really got to come after the hitters as Lainey Van Tiger bats. Nowhere to put them now as that ball skips in. It kicks away from Trainer, but that's because it hit Van Tiger. It hit Van Tiger, and that is going to be a run for the Bulldogs. 4-0 Algona on the hit by pitch.
Yeah, Brooklyn Birdie showing some frustration out there. You know, I think her frustration stems from she knows she can throw strikes. We've seen her do it in the past at the JV and varsity level last year. She had some innings last year at varsity. It's not new to her, and it's just not clicking right. You just got to keep your head up and power through. She's missed upstairs. She missed downstairs. She's just a little bit out of rhythm here. And the umpire doesn't like the way she's in between batters here going into her glove while she's standing on the pitching plate. He's going out and instructing her, make sure you don't break your hands. And message received by Brooklyn Birdie. Umpires, they have a lot of things to keep track of.
They certainly do.
They got to notice all the fine details.
Well, that's not a bad thing for Birdie almost to have the umpire go out and explain that. It's a chance to take a deep breath here if the base is loaded and maybe kind of get your composure back as the top of the order returns for Algona.
Yeah, exactly. The umpire's giving her a chance to take a breath.
Caitlin Burns walked her first time up as that pitch is way up high for a ball, 1-0 count. Big secondary lead at second base by Bella Jo Dunning. Bases are full of Bulldogs right now, though, as Wilt's on third base, Dunning at second, Van Tiger at first. Pitch to Burns, and that one is going to be a little bit low for a ball, 2-0 count.
Well, Bulldogs have batted around, Tyler. You're just going to run out of room in your book.
Yeah, the brand new scorebook's getting a lot of work here early as that pitch sails to the backstop. Trainer on top of it quickly as, again, Bulldogs play conservative on the ball to the backstop. Wilt staying at third, and Dunning was ready to go at second. She was about halfway to third base, but quickly had to slam on the brakes when she realized no one was moving in front of her. 3-0 pitch to Burns. That is a take all the way, and that is a strike over the outside part of the plate.
You are a traditionalist, Tyler. I'm Generation X. You'd be a millennial? Are you a millennial?
I am a millennial. 3-1 pitch. Burns with a little flare. Shallow right center field. That one's trouble, and it's down for a base hit. Wilt scores. Dunning waved around. Threw it to the plate. Not in time. A 2-out base hit by Caitlin Burns. She's going to go to second as the Golden Bears don't pick her up there, and it is a 6-0 Algona lead in inning number 1.
Oh, another solid hit by the Bulldogs. Good fielding by the Bears. A good throw all the way to home plate. It was close at the plate, but Bears throw through to home plate well, but that allows the runners to advance, and once again, runners at second and third in scoring position.
2 outs as the pitch is down and inside. That is ball 1 to Trunkhill, who boomed a double dead center field her first time up. So this inning for the Bulldogs has been a couple of blasts, a bloop, a couple of pitches out of the zone as well, and it leads to a 6-0 advantage right now. And this inning not done yet. Runners at second and third, and 2 outs here as Birdie tries to get out of the inning and stop it at this point.
Boy, she could use anything here. She's just got to get one more out, get out of here.
There is a wave and a miss by Trunkhill. Got a little greedy that time, chasing a pitch up and out of the zone. She was faking double the center field once again, but it's a 2-1 count. Bulldogs attacking the softball here early on. Wind in the pitch by Birdie. That's a blast deep towards right center field. It's another gapper by Trunkhill, and it's gone! It's gone! A 3-run homer for Allison Trunkhill. How about that? First career double early this inning, first career home run this inning, and it's 9-0 Algona.
2 hits in the same inning, double and a home run. When does that happen? What a stat line Trunkhill's building up here. It's been a long time since she threw a pitch, and she's a pitcher here for the Bulldogs. What an evening she is having out here on the diamond, as the Bears are now meeting at the pitching circles, trying to straighten something out. Boy, they are up against the wall here in the first inning.
How about that for helping out your own cause? A double, a home run, and 3 runs driven in this inning by Trunkhill with her first 2 career extra base hits.
Opposite field gap. Boy, I think someone tried to catch it out there behind the fence, Tyler. I don't think they did.
That's a stinger off the hands if you don't feel it cleanly. If you don't have those soft hands out there in the home run zone, that could be an issue.
Yeah, she hit that ball hard. It left a yard in a hurry.
Haynes will swing and a drive. Deep left field. Zero doubt about that one. That ball is still in orbit as Reagan Haynes pounds that one out to left. She did not need a wind on that one, ladies and gentlemen. That one was gone by a mile, and it's 10-0 Bulldogs.
My goodness, that is a textbook highlight. You couldn't have scripted it any more perfectly if you want to show a monster home run. Birdie put the strike down the middle, and Haynes said, no way is that not going anywhere except deep. Boy, she hit that one a long ways.
She jumped on the first pitch. That is home run number 5 in the career of Reagan Haynes. And it's 10-0 Algona as they now send Maya Lentz to the plate. There's a full conference of the pitching circle for Bishop Garrigan, and that is going to be it for Brooklyn Birdie. So a tough night there for the Garrigan freshman, and we will have a new pitcher. We'll tell you about that new pitcher coming up after these messages on Hometown Radio KLGA and the Algona Radio YouTube stream.
For over 40 years, Northwest Iowa Bone, Joint, and Sports Surgeons have maintained one mission: to provide excellence in orthopedic care. Their team of 9 physicians offers specialized care in everything from arthroscopic same-day surgery to joint replacement, as well as hand and foot surgery, and have an orthopedic surgeon on call 24/7. Healthcare isn't about appointments, it's about taking care of people, and that's their specialty. Visit Northwest Iowa Bone, Joint, and Sports Surgeons on the web at nwiabone.com.
We've got more sports club members making this broadcast possible on Hometown and Home Country Radio.
Algona Frame and Auto Body. We meet by accident.
Water Connection, from softeners to bottled water and service. Call 295-SOFT.
Algona Pizza Ranch. There's so much to love.
Cotton Grave Farm Management and Land Realty, downtown Algona. Trusted for farmland service needs since 1960.
Algona Livestock. Sales every Monday.
Countryside Barbecue Sauce. 2 sauces for all seasons.
All bringing you this broadcast on the radio.
As we come back to Algona High School, if you're just tuning in here thinking the game started at 7:30, well, we got started a little early here tonight, but the Bulldog Bats, they got started right off the jump. It's 10-0 Algona as we play here in the bottom half of the first inning. The Bulldogs sending their number 4 hitter to the plate, Maya Lentz, for the second time here in this inning, as Brooklyn Birdie done for the night. She found the zone here tonight. The objective was to throw strikes, and she did, but credit to the Bulldog hitters. They just hit her hard and really to all fields, left, right, and center, as there's a foul back to the screen on an aggressive cut by Lentz.
Yeah, there was a few walks in there, but it's been the Bulldog hits that have done the damage. Home runs, doubles, they're just spraying it all over the field, putting charges into that ball. No doubters, no dribblers, just really hitting the cover off the ball tonight.
The Golden Bears have turned to their 8th grader, Rakaya Nielsen, as Lentz pops the pitch foul out of play to the first base side. Nielsen was second up last night against Belmont Clummy, threw some really good innings early on, and ultimately the Broncos did rally against her in the final inning. But much like Brooklyn Birdie, had some good moments, had some rocky spots too, and that's what you'd expect with a young pitching staff still trying to earn time for the Golden Bears. There is a changeup. Lentz stays back on it and drives into the right center field gap, and that'll be another extra base hit. Lentz is not going to stop at second. She is turning and burning, and she is on her way to third base of a triple. Maya Lentz just eating up ground around the bases with a triple to the right center field gap.
Well, another textbook fundamental approach to the changeup. She lands that front foot but keeps her weight back. It was a nice pitch. She read that changeup though, keeps her weight back and drives it to the opposite field. Just the absolute perfect textbook thing to do with that pitch.
It'll be Kayla Busher now to the plate. Lined into a double play her first time up, as that is a sliced ball to the first base side foul. That play feels like a while ago at this point, but she hit that soft liner to third base that Hannah Merritt made a nice play on and stepped on the bag for the double play.
10-0, first inning yet. Talk about some hits. Tyler, you are going to run out of scorebook at this rate.
There's a pop fly first base side out of play, and the count goes to 0-2.
Well, the reason I point out your age in your traditional scorebook is that, I mean, I know there exists iPad apps where you can just type them in, but you go the traditional route. You'd like the pen to paper. I appreciate that.
That's right, pen to paper in the scorebook. There's something just about having a hard copy of a lineup that just seems right, as there's a line drive foul third base side. I'd say baseball and softball are two of the most time-honored and traditional sports, too, so it only feels right to keep the stats here by pen all throughout the course of the season.
That's right. There is nothing wrong with tradition. We don't all have to jump onto the future here. You know, it seems like a long time ago, those 2 outs were a double play by Marin, and she almost snagged another one right there. It was a foul ball, but she almost got her glove on it. Yeah, 2 outs coming on 1 hit. Other than that, it's just been hard for the Bear defense to get to any of these balls the Bulldogs are spraying all over the green.
1-2 count to Busher as Nielsen climbs back aboard the rubber. The 1-2 pitch, line drive, deep left field. That one is towards the fence, and it's off the top of the wall. Busher drives home run from third base, and she'll be into second with a double. That's one where she hit it almost too much on a line. You get a little more air on that one, and it's gone, but Busher will certainly take a rocket double to left field and an 11-0 lead for the Bulldogs.
Well, Tyler, you have the experience. I was watching a lot of Bear softball all last season with my daughter on the team, but you've seen these girls before. Is this expected, or do they have – I mean, that ball was off the top of the fence.
This is an outburst. As there's a ground ball to shortstop, it's knocked down by Erpel and Wickman, but you can't field it cleanly as Haynes is safe at first. I'll give you the stats on this because it has been an inning full of extra base hits for Algona. I'll count up the official amount of extra base hits here in a second, but if you look at it last year, Algona only had 32 extra base hits all season long, and again, I'll count up the numbers here in the first, but it's quite a bit.
Yeah, and that last hit was an infield hit to the deepest part of the hole. Wickman and Marin had no chance to get to it.
Yeah, it's 7 extra base hits for Algona this inning, and again, they had 32 extra base hits all of last season. You knew they had a couple power threats in the lineup, but I think this is really a all-out barrage here by Algona in the first inning.
So they've almost gotten to a quarter of the extra base hits they got last year in 1 inning.
There's a flare towards third base, and that's going to be called an out. Marin was trying to work her way through Busher, and they're going to say Busher interfered with Marin trying to make that catch, and that will end the inning. Well, the Bulldogs do go through a lot of their order. In fact, they went through the whole order once and went through the number 7 spot twice, as that's an 11-run frame for Algona. The inning comes to an end, though, as the Golden Bears will bat next. We move to the top of the second here on Hometown Radio KLGA and at the Algona Radio YouTube live stream.
High school sports on Hometown and Home Country Radio, brought to you by these fine sports club members.
Central Financial Group, where you belong.
Down to Earth Tree Service, your local Algona Tree Service.
Styles Salon, your salon in Algona. Create yourself.
Farm and Home Services. View their listings at farmhomeservices.com.
Holmes Animal Clinic, animals large and small. They love them all.
Dance Connection and Tumbling by Michelle. Passionate about teaching, creative about dance. Visit their studio or danceconnectionbymichelle.com.
All bringing you this ball game.
We've got more sports club members making this broadcast possible on Hometown and Home Country Radio.
TAFE Wellness Center in Algona and Armstrong, keeping athletes in the game with chiropractic care. Take charge of your health.
Lichter's Garage Door Service and new installations. A reputation you can trust. Call 515-295-5988.
Ed Service Station, service you can trust.
J&J Custom Meats, continuing the traditions in Whittemore.
Ulrich Construction, let them do the work.
Sports club members bringing you this game.
Top of the second inning from Algona High School. The Algona Bulldogs on top of the Bishop Garrigan Golden Bears 11-0 in this high school softball matchup. As here's the windup of the pitch by Trunkhill. Erpel and Wickman taps that one foul third base side as the count goes to 0-1. Bulldogs in that inning recorded 8 hits, 7 of them for extra bases. A couple of home runs in that frame as well, as they sent 16 batters to the plate. And now Trunkhill will try to put a 0 on the board here against 5, 6, and 7 in the Bishop Garrigan batting order. Erpel and Wickman out of a leaned over right-handed stance. Open off the front foot as the 0-1 pitch is popped in the air, third base side. Dunning will call everyone off, and she'll settle underneath it for out number 1.
Well, the Bears are certainly going to try to answer the Bulldogs in some way, shape, or form. Erpel and Wickman's got some power. All the Bear bats have some power, but they're going to have to match firepower with firepower if they're going to have a chance to hit their way back in here, because this pitcher is firing some good fastballs in there. They're going to have to time that.
Carly Nielsen stands in for the Golden Bears. That back foot just off the chalk of the right-handed batter's box, as Nielsen will take that one down and in for a ball, 1-0 count. Well, this is one of the lineup changes that Coach Purdy for Bishop Garrigan is playing around with. Nielsen started at shortstop last night. She is the designated player today for Erpelding Wickman at shortstop. And the Golden Bears, with a couple of key departures from last year, moving players around the field a little bit and seeing who does best in what spot, including changing the batting order a little bit, as there's a swing and a foul tip for strike one. Top of the second and 1 out. Algona on top 11-0. Over on the baseball diamond, Algona leads Emmitsburg 2-1 in the top half of the third inning. Tronquil back aboard the rubber. The Bulldog Jr. fires that one in, and it misses up and away for a ball. 2-1 here to Nielsen. It'll be Nielsen, Birdie, and then Peterson if anyone gets on base for the Golden Bears. Peterson moving up from the number 9 spot to the number 8 spot in today's lineup. The 2-1 pitch. There's a little tapper at home plate, foul, and the count even, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Well, Tronquil the Jr. throws with really good velocity. I know Reagan Haynes was the pitcher last year?
Ryan Haynes is the pitcher, then Reagan Haynes is the catcher.
Okay. So Tronquil probably saw some innings last year at varsity?
She did. It was pretty close to a 50-50 split with her and Haynes, as the wind and the 2-2 pitch. Up and away for a ball, 3-2. Haynes for the least innings of her career last year, but that's because you had a good, reliable number 2 option of Tronquil, and Bulldogs, of course, will try to keep both of them fresh all throughout the season and probably pitch them about 50-50 again this year.
Yeah, what a bonus to have a couple capable pitchers on your squad. Softball, the sport that tends to focus on one ace.
The 3-2 pitch. There's a roller speared at the mound by Tronquil. Throws to first base in time for the out. And it's 2 up, 2 down for the Golden Bears to start off the second inning as Brooklyn Birdie bats.
A great backhand by Tronquil. She reaches across her body to do the backhand. Nielsen hit that ball pretty hard. Shortstop was charging, but it was going to be a close play if Tronquil doesn't snare that. Way to field the position from the pitching circle.
It'll be Rakaya Nielsen, I beg your pardon, batting, as she did replace Birdie in the pitching circle earlier last inning. As Nielsen chokes up on the right-handed bat. Bats of 2 outs and nobody aboard. Swings at the first pitch and hits a little tapper towards first base. Haynes trying to take charge. A glove flip to first base, and she got the out. What a play by Ryan Haynes, as no one took charge initially. Haynes charged in late and made a glove flip to first base to record out number 3. Golden Bears go 3 up, 3 down, and the Bulldogs will bat in the bottom of the second on Hometown Radio KLGA and at the Algona Radio YouTube stream.
Thank you to these sports club members bringing you this game on Hometown and Home Country Radio.
Good Samaritan Society, Algona's senior housing and services rooted in God's love.
Feed Mill Coffee Company, Algona's locally owned coffee shop.
Tangle Salon for all your cuts, colors, hair extensions, and massage therapy needs.
Schindler Lawn Care and Landscaping, 515-320-3840.
All bringing you this ball game.
Thank you to these sports club members bringing you this game.
Runkey Brothers Full Service. Experience the Runkey Brothers difference for all your auto service and repair needs.
Hy-Vee. Use the Fuel Saver card. Fill your cart, fuel your car.
North Iowa Appliance Center, Highway 18 East in Algona, where they sell the best and service the rest.
Erpelding Excavating Enterprises. Let them take care of your grading, excavating, and drainage needs.
Erpelding Void & Company CPAs. They're not just about taxes.
Sports club members bringing you this game.
We welcome you back to Algona High School for the bottom of the second inning. It's Algona 11 and Bishop Garrigan nothing here in this high school softball crosstown matchup. Again, I'm Tyler Lance alongside Beanie Bodie. Beanie, I've got to fill the listeners in on something here. Last night, you and I did the Bishop Garrigan versus Belmont Clemmy softball game, and when you left, I had no idea that you were going to bike home in last night's weather conditions. What was that all about?
I was racing some, Tyler, most people don't realize that. I am a country boy, and I live in the rural area, as you say, but it's not very far from town. So if I can get home before the sun, I'm riding my bike, especially in the summertime. And it is officially summer. Memorial Day has occurred. Summertime is for bike riding. I'm surprised to hear you talking a little trash about navigating without motors, because people see you running all over town. So I'm sure you have run more miles than I've biked in 2025.
Well, I was only about to question why you didn't run home. I mean, that was the logical next step.
I see. Okay, you think I should be running because the bike is a lazy man's tool. I see.
Well, batting now for the Bulldogs is going to be Gabby Van Tiger, their flex player. So the Bulldogs will get her in at bat. Right-handed hitting sophomore for Algona, went 1 for 2 last season as she flies that in the air down the right field line, and that one drops foul. Missed it by a foot or two there.
More good contact by the Bulldogs. They're just excellent hand to eye. There's no wasted movement in their swings. They're delivering the barrel of that bat straight to the softball, letting the bat do the work. Well, Tyler, I have heard that you recently ran a marathon. My question is, do you run to the starting line?
Well, fortunately, there were close enough parking garages where I could get somewhat close, but there was a little running to get to the start line.
And then afterwards, are you so sore it's hard to push the gas pedal to get home?
I was thinking about calling for a taxi, but we powered through. It was a workout after the workout.
If I ran a marathon, I wouldn't be using my legs for several weeks.
Yeah, they declined my ask of getting a wheelchair to wheel me up to the game tonight, as there's a swing and a miss by Van Tiger for strike 3, and that will be out number 1 of the inning for the Bulldogs.
So Rakaya Nielsen is in relief of Brooklyn Birdie, who fought her way through most of that first inning, but the Bulldogs really were hitting her hard. Rakaya Nielsen, the 8th grader here, putting the ball in the zone. Just a little different look than Birdie.
The right-hander fires in the pitch, and the bottom falls out of that one as there's a wave and a miss by Dunning.
Nothing overpowering on the velocity, but you don't have to be overpowering as a pitcher with velocity if you can find different parts of that zone and keep the hitters guessing.
So I beg your pardon, Van Tiger had hit for Wilt on that last at-bat since the interference ended the previous inning, and now Dunning does bat here, but in any case, 1 out, nobody on base. Dunning is batting now, and there will be a pinch hitter on deck for the Bulldogs here, or once we get around, I should say, with Kinsey Till just waiting on deck.
Now the Bulldogs up 11-0. Bears aren't in panic mode yet. They were down 8-1 after a couple innings last night.
And you're right, they did have that big rally and ended up eventually taking the lead in that ball game, even though Belmont Columbia inched ahead late. This is a Golden Bear offense that can score some runs. I mean, they were, as a team last year, hitting almost 360, and a lot of that talent from the lineup is still back. 2-1 count. Nielsen on the rubber. Roxanne delivers. And there's a wave and a miss by Dunning. Had her out in front foot that time as she was faking an extra base swing there, and the count's 2-2.
Well, good changeup there. Last night we saw Rakaya Nielsen kind of struggle with that changeup at times, but she's thrown it a couple times here very well.
And sometimes it's the simple things as a softball pitcher. If you can locate, throw strikes, and change speeds, a lot of the rest of the stuff is extra. Of course, you want to work on that extra stuff too and refine it over time, but you nail those basics and you're a pretty good way of the way there. 3-2 count as Nielsen missed on that last off-speed pitch outside. 1 out, nobody on base. Algona up 11-0 here on a windy evening, a windy Wednesday evening here for a non-conference matchup. The wind on the 3-2 pitch. Swing and a miss for strike 3. Nielsen with back-to-back Ks to start off the second inning.
Yeah, good job changing speeds, keeping the hitters guessing. And after an incredible first inning where they put up 11 runs, Bulldogs have 2 outs and no runs to throw in the second inning here.
It's number 6.
Good crowd. You know, I think people are a little shocked to show up here and have the game in the second inning since it started earlier, but now we've got lawn chairs all around the outfield fence. Good crowd here in the aluminum bleachers here at Bulldog Park. Is it called Bulldog Park, or is there an official name?
You know, I've always referred to the baseball field as Bulldog Park because there's a sign over there that says Bulldog Park. I think that's fair for the softball field, too. There's not really official signage here. I don't think that says it.
There's no sign on the scoreboard. There's one advertisement on the scoreboard. There's plenty of room on the scoreboard for more advertising. Tyler, should we pony up some cash and buy a Tyler and Beanie advertisement for the softball scoreboard?
I'm hoping enough people know about us already that they'll just tune in without us buying an advertisement. But, hey, if you're paying, I'm putting up the ad. You pay, I'll do the graphic design. How's that for a deal?
As soon as I find some money, we will advertise on that scoreboard.
Well, it's a 1-1 count right now on Kinsey Tilgis, right-handed batter for the Bulldogs, as she will bat for Lanny Van Tiger. Caitlin Burns on deck. The 1-1 popped foul first base side over the Bulldog dugout. Count 1-2 now. You can tell it's early in the season and it's cold because normally when there's a foul ball in the midst of summer, you see 4, 5, 6 little kids run after it. Here in these cold days, everyone's bundled up and staying in the bleachers. I think we maybe had one kid run after that one, but it's not the normal swarm there is when there's an out-of-play foul ball.
Yeah, it's a chilly breeze.
Tilgis pops it up towards third base. Marin has it measured, and that is out number 3 of the inning. So a nice inning there by Nielsen. She goes 1, 2, 3 with a couple of strikeouts, and the Bulldogs are done here in the second. No runs, no hits, no errors. Score stays 11-0 as we move to the third on Hometown Radio KLGA and at the Algona Radio YouTube stream.
High school sports on Hometown and Home Country Radio, brought to you by these fine sports club members.
AK's Chrome Kitchen. When you come in, your family.
Farmers State Bank is proud to be part of our community. Offices in Algona, Whittemore, and West Bend.
Stroman Dental, giving you something to smile about.
Phil's Auto and Truck Repair. Service is the difference.
Trend Salon, your complete family hair salon. It's all about you.
Oakcrest Funeral Services, celebrating a life lived.
All bringing you this game on Hometown and Home Country Radio.
Where you bank matters. Hi, I'm Sherry Bacon at Security State Bank, and we're relationship bankers. We get to know our customers and understand their financial needs. We're locally owned and operated, which means family, community, and service always comes first. So come to Security State Bank. We'll treat you like family. Security State Bank in Algona, Burt, and Laverne. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Security State Bank.
Top half of the third inning from Algona High School as the Bishop Garrigan Golden Bears will bat of Molly Peterson, Shiloh Trainer, and Alyssa Hoagland this inning. Peterson has been in the number 9 spot for the Golden Bears, moves up to the number 8 spot here tonight. One of the 3 seniors on this roster looking to start off an inning here for the Golden Bears as they try for their first run of the ball game.
We're waiting for the umpire. He's over to the dugout talking to the coaches, and Molly Peterson having a laugh with the umpire as he gets set behind the dish. Little pause in the action. Interesting, between innings, the Bulldogs, they play catch on the right field line. Looks like they had a good old warm-up. Every team does in between innings a little different. Their approach, play some catch in the right field.
And anything you can do to stay warm here tonight, because, you know, you and I were nice bundled up here outside of the press box, but down there in the softball uniforms, that breeze can bite a little bit here on a night like this, especially with the sun gone, as that is strike one to Peterson.
There was stocking caps in the stands last night and winter coats. I don't see any big-time winter coats tonight, just a lot of chilly people.
Yeah, not quite as chilly as last night, but definitely an early season type of environment as the 0-1 to Peterson is up at eye level for a ball to make it 1-1.
Trunkill continues to pitch very well. She started Peterson out with an inside corner strike that a hitter doesn't want to swing at first pitch. Gets a free strike there and then works that outside zone, moving the ball around well.
Trunkill fires in the next pitch as Peterson rolls it towards shortstop. The third baseman Dunning cutting in front, firing it across the diamond with a good arm and getting out number 1 on Peterson.
Good contact by Peterson. Dunning, just nice, swift move to the ball there. She kind of did a little skip as she approached it. You know, part of the thing in softball, you got to be in rhythm as you get that ball off the dirt and throw, because it's such a bang-bang play with the short bases. You've got to be smooth. And that was a nice smooth play by Dunning.
Well, we talk about getting used to throwing to the bases in the softball diamond because, of course, much smaller diamond than the baseball diamond, but the spatial awareness between fielders is affected by that too, and especially third base and shortstop, you have to have a knowledge of whose plays at when, and that's a good play for the third baseman. It's a shorter throw. You have momentum going towards first base, so you have to know when to cut in front and when to let the shortstop have it. So that's another aspect that gets worked out as time goes on, as Trainer fouls that one back for a strike, 0-2 count.
Yeah, and you kind of also got to know your own arm strength. I mean, you have an idea, since these two teams in the same town know each other somewhat from other sports likely. They know who's fast and who's not, but you also have to know your own arm speed. Sometimes people get a little overconfident, wait too long before they deliver that ball to first.
0-2 count on Shiloh Trainer, right-handed hitting catcher, and Trainer takes a pitch that is on the outside corner for a called strike 3. Or is it?
No,
well,
I thought I heard a strike call.
The umpire...
Now he says 1-2. That
he
would
says
have been
1-2.
Okay.
All right. Well, the Bulldogs threw it around the horn. That was confusing all around. He made a loud noise that sounded like a strike call, but I guess it was just an emphatic ball call.
Emphatic ball call. We don't hear those very often.
I will say that would have been a generous outside corner if they had called that.
Outside, and it sounded like strike.
Now Trainer flies that in the air, shallow center field. It's blooping in quickly, but closing ground and making the grab out there in center field. Nice catch by Gabby Van Tiger for out number 2.
Yeah, good positioning and good read on the ball by Van Tiger. Off the bat, I thought Trainer might have a hit there, hit in between no man's land between the outfielders and the infielders, but Van Tiger gets there, makes the catch.
Well, Beanie, I'll ask you this as Alyssa Hoagland digs in, a strikeout victim her first time up. We talk a lot about all the different jobs that you've done and all the things you've been involved in over time.
Been a few.
Have you ever done any umpiring at any level of baseball or softball?
I have. I was an official high school umpire for baseball right out of high school almost. When I was in college, I did some umpiring, I believe. I'd work construction all day and then be the worst umpire at night.
Using up all your energy in construction and can't make any decisions behind home plate as Hoagland hits a little tapper towards third. Dunning playing way in, grabs it and fires to first base to get the speeding Hoagland, and the inning comes to an end. And that'll get Beanie off the hot seat to answer for all the calls that he missed as an umpire. We now move to the bottom half of the third inning. It's Algona 11 and Bishop Garrigan nothing on Hometown Radio, KLGA.
When you need cash on the go, there's no need to pay a surcharge fee with MoneyPass. Iowa State Bank is proud to be part of the MoneyPass network of surcharge-free ATMs found nationwide. Look for the green and blue MoneyPass symbol on over 32,000 ATMs across the nation. Or find an ATM near your vacation spot or travel destination at MoneyPass.com. MoneyPass, another way that Iowa State Bank helps people succeed. Member FDIC.
Bottom of the third inning from Algona High School. It was an 11 spot in the first inning by the Bulldogs, and right now they lead Bishop Garrigan 11-0 here in the Crosstown Showdown. Algona will bat at the top part of their order. Caitlin Burns, Allison Trunkhill, and Regan Haynes. And I should note, in high school softball, it is a 12-run rule if you get to that point after 3 innings. So if Algona does score 1 run this inning, the game would come to an end. But it was a good last inning by Rakaya Nielsen for Bishop Garrigan as she set the Bulldogs down in order, and will try to do the same thing again here against the 1, 2, 3 spots in their batting order.
Well, then the Bears should approach this like it's a last bottom of the frame. They got to prevent the team from scoring and treat this like an opportunity to learn, prevent those runners from moving around the bases here. Boy, Coach Van Otterloo, he's wearing shorts out there. He's not showing any signs of the chilly temperatures tonight, but see the trainer family, I stand corrected. They are wearing winter coats. There are winter coats here. The trainers are all bundled up.
And that one is in there for a called strike. Watching Shiloh trainer behind home plate, of course, but yeah, it's Coach Van Otterloo over at third base in the shorts, and then any high school boys who are here watching this game, they're in shorts as well, as we discussed last night at the Bishop Garrigan game.
No, always the shorts. You know, if we're going to do advertisements for umpiring, one good thing about umpiring is you never get cold. You're wearing all that gear behind the plate. You got lots of insulation there. You do get hot when the temperature turns to summertime. But, yeah, we always need more umpires, more officials. It's the one thing it's probably the only thing in America where everyone thinks they're so good at, but no one wants to do it.
That is a great point as Burns cuts and misses of that offering to make it 1-2. Nielsen with a big floating changeup on the prior pitch, and then a little bit of a breaking ball that had some dip to it as Burns is down in the count 1-2. Wind still gusting at times here out in the direction of center field as Nielsen climbs back aboard the rubber. The right-hander fires in the pitch, but it's down and away for a ball, evening it at 2-2 to Burns.
Well, 2 strikes on Burns, the leadoff hitter. Good speed out of the batter's box. Rakaya Nielsen needs to come after her here, force her to put the ball in play. No free passes when you can't give up a run.
The 2-2 to Burns, up at eye level for a ball. 3-2 count. Burns, Trunko, and Haynes this inning for the Bulldogs. Lentz if anyone gets aboard base in the bottom half of the third. And Nielsen, one of the many 8th grade arms that Bishop Garrigan has as options in the pitching circle, back in there. The full count pitch. Burns flares that one foul third base side out of play, and we'll do it again with a 3-2 count.
It was a nice pitch by Nielsen. Catches that outside corner. Burns knew that she couldn't watch it go and risk being rung up by the umpire on a nice pitch, so she fouls it off. Best case scenario for her.
11-0 Algona here on Hometown Radio KLGA. As it's a 3-2 count. Nielsen rocks and delivers, and missed down and away for ball 4. Good disciplined eye that time by Burns, and the Bulldogs have their leadoff runner aboard base.
Now batting for the Bulldogs.
Burns has now been on board all 3 times that she's been up tonight with a walk, a single, and now another walk. And Allison Trunkhill, who has shown a booming bat in that right-handed box with a big double to center fielder first time up, and then a home run to right center fielder second time up. Some impressive opposite field power as she'll bat here with 1 aboard. Nielsen delivers, that one's in there for a strike. Stealing second is Burns, throw down, not in time. Orpling Wickman knocks it down at shortstop, but Burns is able to swipe second base.
Now, what would be, if you're correct there, Tyler, that means the ending winning run is there in scoring position, correct?
That is correct.
I always thought it was 15 after 3, but they changed that rule 12 after 3, huh?
Well, so for baseball, it would be 15 after 3.
Baseball, 15 after 3.
As that's flied in there. Although I do think they changed the run rules. That is deep to center field. Reaching up is Hoagland, and it's off the fence. They're going to wave the run around from third of Burns. Burns is coming to the plate, and the throw is off the glove of Orpling Wickman, the cutoff man. And that will allow Trunkhill to move to third base. What a night here by Trunkhill. I mean, we'll call that a double and advancing the third on the throw, but she'll drive in the run there with another ball that almost left the yard.
2 doubles and a homer, and she has kept a pretty solid hitting team by the Bears completely at bay from her spot in the pitching circle. What an evening here by that young player. Well, across the way, the Bulldog boys look like they're in the a tight one. They're up 2-1 in the 5th. That game cruising right along against Emmitsburg, the undefeated Bulldogs, correct?
Yeah, they are off to a 4-0 start over there. Had the doubleheader win against Cleary and Goldfield Downs yesterday, and like you said, lead Emmitsburg 2-1. But yeah, previously it would have been a 12-run rule after 3 innings, but they have adapted that rule. It is now they have to be up by 10 or more after 4, so at least one more inning would be required.
I feel like I just got here. I can't end the game yet.
Ground ball up the middle by Haynes, and that's through into center field for a base hit. That will bring in another run for Algona and make it 13-0 as Haynes will knock in one there. Well, especially, too, this game did start about 15 minutes early because we had the JV game end pretty rapidly. So we started at about 7:15, 7:20, and then some fans are still getting here, and all of a sudden the game is in the middle of the first inning, and they're wondering what happened.
There's some people that are going to want their $8 back if it ends real soon.
Don't give the people any ideas there.
I'm sure the volunteers working at the booth, they're already getting the heck out of there.
Taylor Van Otterloo.
Taylor Van Otterloo runs at first base for Haynes as Lentz. Hard ground ball past third base into left field for a base hit. Van Otterloo goes station to station, and it's another base hit for Maya Lentz. So Lentz 3 for 3 here tonight. Reagan Haynes, a batter right before her, 3 for 3 as well, as Haynes now has 4 runs driven in, and it is first and second. And Caleb Busher coming to the plate.
Another rip down the third baseline, the hot corner. Marin had no chance. Experienced fielder down there at third and Hannah Marin, but a rip by Lentz.
Busher doubled her last time up, pumps it foul first base side over the dugout, 0-1 count. Yeah, it's just been hard hit ball after hard hit ball for the Bulldogs. Sometimes you say hits got blooped in there and it will look like a line drive at the box score later. These are actual line drives in the box score for Algona.
Yeah, they are well-earned hits. They are driving the ball. This is quite a early season hit parade by the Bulldogs. Just what a team needs to get them confident in their bats for this upcoming season.
Pitch was up and into Busher, and it leaned her back to make the count 1-1.
Now, the Bears had a situation like that last night. They hit a couple homers. They were driving the ball over the place, getting some confidence. For them, it's their defense has got to warm up here, get ready for this long season in front of them.
So 2-1 count now to Bushers. That last offering missed up and out of the zone. Golden Bear outfield staying relatively deep here for the number 5 hitter in the Bulldog lineup. 2-1 pitch. Busher ground ball towards second base. Peterson has a kick off her glove, and everyone's going to be safe. Base is loaded here and full of Bulldogs as Busher hit that one fairly hard, but Peterson couldn't keep it in front.
Oh, Peterson's so flustered. All the Bears out there are just waiting for a ball that they can field, one that's not off the fence or over the fence or a line drive to the outfield, and they finally get one. And boy, Peterson just had a ricochet right off and can't get the out. Base is juiced for a solid hitter at the plate.
Ryan Haynes standing in for Algona. Singled and reached on an air as Nielsen just missed on that one, maybe a little bit up. 1-0 count. This is a 5th-year starter for Algona. She was the starting pitcher for Algona going all the way back to her 8th grade year. And like we said, now sharing the pitching duties of Trunk Hill, but can play versatilely around the infield as well.
With these experienced hitters, they don't chase a lot of pitches. Nielsen's going to have to come in the zone.
And Nielsen pours that one over for a called strike. Count even at 1-1. So bags full of Bulldogs right now. Golden Bear outfield straight up for Haynes. And a 13-0 Algona lead as Haynes looks to add on to that. Wilt on deck, Haynes takes, and that one in there for a called strike. 1-2 count.
Boy, she is waiting to get her pitch. She looked at 2 decent ones. Not quite what she wanted. That's a sign of those experienced hitters. A lot of those confident hitters, sometimes they'll take till they get 2 strikes just to see what they can get.
Yeah, you go in attack mode early in the at-bat, but with 2 strikes, then you start protecting as Haynes hits a line drive through the drawn-in infield into right center field for a base hit. That is going to score 2 runs for the Bulldogs. Hoagland will throw all the way through, and that will let Haynes go up to second base. I think that's one where you want to just let that one go for the 2 runs as the Bulldogs had the 2 there pretty clearly, and that lets the runner go up to second. So it's 15-0, and Haynes does a good job of changing her approach of 2 strikes. You know, you go to the opposite field, you hit it past the shallow infield, and drive it a couple runs.
Yeah, Haynes shows off her handiwork with the bat there. She watched 2 pitches go by that were better than the one she hit, but that she got herself into within 2-strike hole and had to protect the plate and gets herself on base even though she didn't get her ideal pitch.
So it'll be runners at second and third now for Algona. Still nobody away here in the 3rd inning as it's a 15-0 advantage for the Bulldogs.
Haynes also moves up to second on some good base running there. Hoagland thought there was going to be a play at the plate, throws all the way through. If she hits the cutoff there, Haynes might be at first base still, but first and third likely moving up anyway.
Yeah, I do think that's one thing that this Garrigan outfield will have to work on as the season goes on. You know, it's a more inexperienced outfield, 2 new starters from last year, and that's something that Coach Purdy talked a little bit about when I talked to her before the season. It's the game IQ and knowing the situations, where does the ball have to go on a given play, and that's something that you want to see develop as the season goes on.
Yeah, just like hitters are taught, you know, don't let that ball be up in the air too long when you hit it.
There's a hard hit ball towards shortstop Erpling. Wickman able to field it, fires across the diamond. It pulls Montag off of first, coming home and sliding in safely is Busher. And now going to second base is Wilt, as that'll make it 16-0 Bulldogs.
Yeah, the Bear defense, boy, they're kind of indifferent on those runners taking second base. The Bulldogs move up the station once again. They just throw the ball back to the pitcher. Bears throwing a little exasperation here on their defensive set, down 16-0 in the third. But they got to batten down the hatches. They got to do something, get themselves out of this inning. They have no outs.
And I think on the Algona side of things, you're excited to see this aggressive base running that Algona's doing, because it's been great for Algona to have all these extra base hits tonight, but you're not going to rely on 7, 8, 9 extra base hits, whatever it's been on this point on a night-to-night basis. And running the bases as aggressively as they've been doing tonight, that can certainly be a formula to sort of generate extra bases, even if they're not there necessarily right off the bat. As Dunning will take that one for ball 2. 2-0 count here on Bella Joe Dunning.
Tyler, would you check your scorebook for me and tell me how many Bulldogs have struck out? I think 1, perhaps.
2 so far tonight.
2 strikeouts. So 2 strikeouts over 3 innings. You know, there'll be some strikeouts.
There's a hard hit line drive to right field, but right into the tracks of Peterson, who makes the catch. Tagging up at third base is Haynes, and she will score on the sacrifice fly. Ball gets thrown away as Wilt will stop at third. As Bella Joe Dunning hits a hard hit fly out, but does not get rewarded there if a hit. She will get an RBI, though, to make it 17-0.
But it's becoming apparent that, you know, with the really young pitching staff for Bishop Garrigan, with an 8th grader and a freshman taking on the duties this year, you can't rely on waiting for the other team to strike out. They're going to have to really tighten up that defense. A perfect example right there. Jenna Peterson makes an excellent catch, and they tagged up both runners from second and third. Jen throws all the way home, but in that situation, you probably want to go to third with that.
And pitch in there to Lainey Van Tiger for a called strike.
So just a lot of details that this young defense is going to iron out as Coach Purdy works with them in this very early young season here.
And sometimes you iron those out on the fly, too, just with game reps. You know, this is game number 2 of the season for the Golden Bears, game number 1 for Algona. Sometimes that stuff will just start to come more naturally, too, as you play more games and go through those situations time and time again.
You know, when you see these coaches meeting with their team in between innings and, of course, the conferences after the games, that's when they're teaching, talking about those situations that happen. But it's hard to learn on the fly. It's painful.
Pitch to Van Tiger, fouled straight back to the screen, and it's a 1-2 count on the Algona senior.
Because, you know, speaking from experience, I'm sure you would agree, no one likes to learn their lessons in front of a crowd.
That is the truth, but sometimes that's the way it has to go, especially with limited practice time. You're playing 4 or 5 nights a week. 1-2 count here from Nielsen. The right-hander rocks and delivers, and Van Tiger hits that one hard, deep into the left center field gap, and that one will one-hop up against the fence. Wilt will walk home from third base, and Lainey Van Tiger adds another extra base hit for Algona with a shot to the left center gap. 18-0 Bulldogs.
Another one-hop to the fence, power on display once again. No chance for the outfielders to get there. Garmin, the left fielder for Garrigan, hustles over there. Hoagland, the center fielder, but that ball was to the fence in a heartbeat. Like we said, you don't want that ball in softball to be up in the air too long. I'm sure the statisticians have a time on it.
And first pitch right over the zone for a called strike to Caitlin Burns. And for the second time tonight, the Bulldogs have batted around as Burns is the 10th batter to hit this inning. So Van Tiger stands at second base. One of 4 seniors on this Algona roster. Another one being Burns in the batter's box right now. The wind and the 0-1 pitch. And that one skips in the dirt for a ball. 1-1 count. Like I mentioned earlier tonight, a lot of track and field talent on the field tonight on both sides. Burns in the batter's box, one of the Bulldog 4x1 and 4x200 meter relay members, but we've talked to a lot of the Golden Bears as well. Someone like Zoe Montag at first base, just coming off a state track and immediately flipping the switch to get to softball season. There's a line shot in left field for a base hit. Van Tiger goes station to station as she stops at third, and Burns is going to aggressively take second base, and she will. The base running excellence continues here by the Bulldogs, and that was just a nice opposite field swing that time for Burns.
Well, you called it, Tyler. You start talking about how fast someone is, and Caitlin Burns in the state track performance, of course she's going to take 2 bases.
Don't you love that when it works out that way as an announcer? Because a lot of times it's the opposite. You'll talk about, oh, so-and-so has great power, and then they'll come up and bunt for a hit or something. As that is flied in the air, shallow center field by Trunkhale, and that one drops in no man's land for a base hit. The runners had to freeze as Hoagland can throw that ball back into the infield. The runner at third base for Algona, Lainey Van Tiger, thought that one might be caught, so she didn't go anywhere, and that'll just be a bloop single that doesn't advance anyone for Trunk Hill.
Well, bases loaded again, so if I'm going to cheer for the Bears here, I'm going to talk about how they have an opportunity to get a double play by going home to first. If they can get a ground ball, they're going to maybe bring that. Peterson's coming in here, bring that infield in, try to get a double play and get out of this inning if they're fortunate.
So 18-0 Bulldogs. Bases are full right now, and Reagan Haynes, who has had a massive game, she is 3 for 3 tonight, and she is a triple shy of the cycle.
Boy, she hit that one home run earlier. Almost made it all the way to the baseball field.
People in the baseball field may want to watch out as she rips a line drive for the third base coaching box foul. Whew, man. That was squared up, but just a little out in front.
That is why the players are wearing masks down there. Although Hannah Marin playing the hot corner, she chooses to go mask-free.
Yeah, we might have to outfit Coach Van Otterloo with a mask over there when Reagan Haynes is at bat.
Yeah, you definitely better be paying attention. No making chit-chat with the opposing coach in the dugout when she's up to bat.
1-1 count, 1 out in the bags full of Bulldogs as Haynes takes that one in the dirt for a ball. 2-1 now. Van Tiger at third base as well has to keep the head on a swivel there, especially after that last one. You're not getting off that third base bag too aggressively there of Reagan Haynes at the plate.
Well, I remember what you said earlier in this game. 32 extra base hits last season.
As there's a dribbler foul.
And they've got to have over 10 so far in these first 3 innings. Unbelievable hitting by the Bulldogs here to start off their 2025 campaign.
And what was kind of a feast or famine offense last year for Algona. They had 6 games where they scored 10 or more runs, but they also had 7 games where they were held to either 0 or 1. So this goes into one of the feast games. There's a pop-up right side of the infield. Montag calls everyone off, and she will make the catch as none of the runners can advance. Ooh. So Haynes is retired for the first time tonight, and that is a sigh of relief for the Golden Bears.
Yeah, it is an understatement to say the Bears needed that ball. Easy pop fly to their most experienced player, Zoe Montag. Her and Hannah Marin anchoring the corners here for Bishop Garrigan, the most experience on the Bears team.
Now Maya Lentz bats, 3 for 3 so far tonight, with a couple of triples and a single. Pitch to Lentz. That one stays upstairs for a ball. 1-0 count from Nielsen. This has been a 7-run inning so far for Algona, who also scored 11 runs in the first. Bottom half of 3 right now as the changes in the mercy rule. Bishop Garrigan will get a chance to bat in the top of the 4th inning. The 1-0 pitch. And that one catches the top of the zone for a strike. 1-1 to Lentz.
And boy, they need to show some fight in those bats. This is a good pitcher in Trunk Hill pitching for the Bulldogs, but the Bears are going to see a lot of good pitching. They need to put something in play, show some life in that offense.
1-1 to Lentz. Takes it upstairs for a ball. 2-1. Lentz, another one of those great state track and field athletes around the area that we talked to over the weekend. High jumping and long jumping at Drake Stadium in Des Moines and doing a little sprinting as well for the Bulldogs. Base is full right now as Nielsen rocks and fires. And missed down and away on that one. 3-1 here to Lentz as Busher waits on deck.
Been very impressed by the good eye that the Bulldog players have had. It's their first game. They haven't seen a lot of live at-bats in a game situation. They have not chased many pitches, and Nielsen has done a nice job being around the zone.
3-1 pitch. Lentz grounds it down the third base side. Just foul. That went through Marin, who puts her glove on her head because she thought she could have made the play, but she'll catch a break there as that one is just foul.
I think she would have, I think even if she made the play, it was going to be a tough call for the umpire. She was basically straddling the base, and that ball, when it crossed over, was not over the base. So, but if she would have contacted, it would have been a tough call for the umpire.
So bases are loaded with 2 outs. The payoff pitch by Nielsen. Lentz rips that one into the center field for a base hit. 19-0 Algona. It's going to be 20-0 as Burns scores as well. Van Tiger and Burns both score, and Lentz just hit a seed into center field. And the offensive just line drives continue here for Algona. They are having a great approach here at the plate, not trying to do too much sometimes, but still hitting the ball hard.
Yeah, just another perfect hit according to the pitch that she saw. She saw that low ball right down the middle. She didn't try to do too much. She just took it right back where it wanted to go.
As there's a wave and a miss by Busher. 0-1 count.
And their timing has been spot on. Even though Nielsen's changing speeds and moving the ball around, these Bulldog hitters are really adjusting and timing each pitch really, really well.
Lentz and Trunk Hill now both 4 for 4 at the plate for Algona. As Busher hits it hard third base side but foul. And she's behind in the count 0-2 as Haynes awaits in the on-deck circle.
Well, those Bulldogs are having fun out there. It's always easy to have fun when things are going this way, up 20-0 in the third inning, and everyone is hitting around. I think everyone's got to hit at least one.
It's certainly
That's a happy dugout.
That is a very happy dugout. They say hitting's contagious, too. You know, you're talking basketball, 3-point shooting's contagious, and softball hitting's contagious as there's a swing and a foul back to the screen as it's a 1-2 count.
Yeah, you saw that last night with the Bears. Once Hannah Marin hit a home run, suddenly everybody could hit the ball, and that's not been the case for the Bears tonight. But on the flip side, it's all Bulldog.
First and second for Algona. 0-2 count on Busher right now. And Busher takes that one outside for a ball, 1-2 count.
There's another example. She's got 2 strikes on her, and Busher has the composure to lay off that pitch that was just upstairs. They're not chasing any bad pitches.
Nielsen will check the wristband once again and offer up the 1-2. Missed in the dirt, it goes to the backstop, and Algona will advance runners to second and third base of 2 away. So it'll be second and third here for the Bulldogs as Lentz is the trail runner at second base right now. It is Spear at third base. And the count now, 2 balls and 2 strikes on Busher as things have evened up. The wind down the 2-2 pitch. And that one up at eye level for a ball. 3 balls and 2 strikes.
Full count, 2 outs. Nielsen's got to come with a strike here.
Busher batting as Haynes waits on deck. Welch scheduled to hit the hole for Algona if it gets around to that point. The 3-2 pitch by Nielsen. Upstairs for ball 4, and the bases are reloaded as Busher draws the walk.
Ooh, bases loaded again for yet another dangerous Haynes sister.
So Ryan Haynes and Reagan Haynes, they go back and forth, certainly competitive sisterhood, and we'll see if Ryan Haynes is able to keep pace here with Reagan Haynes. Ryan Haynes has walked tonight. She's reached on an air and she has singled as she has driven in 2 runs out of the 20 for the Bulldogs. Pitch to Haynes is outside for a ball. Pulled out wide to make it 1-0.
Well, come what may, when this game eventually ends, there's going to be some impressive stat lines after one game of play by the Bulldogs. They're going to want to take a snapshot of what's going to appear on their computer stats.
That ball is skipped in and it's blocked behind home plate, 2-0 count. And both these teams have an off day scheduled for tomorrow, which if you're Bishop Garrigan, it's a good day to get back to practice, kind of flush today's game and really refocus for a conference game on Friday against Lake Mills. If you're Algona, you're saying, man, this season's just getting started. How can we have an off day tomorrow?
Yeah,
what's with that?
They're going to want to keep this hit parade going.
2-0 count, the wind and the pitch. And in there for a called strike, 2-1. The season, of course, a little delayed getting started for Algona. They were expected to play Newman Catholic last night, but a little bit too much water on the field for them to play the game, so that got postponed, and tonight serving as the Bulldogs season opener.
Well, boy, it's the worst when you get that first game of the season rained out. No fun for the Bulldogs. They save it all up for tonight.
Ground ball up the middle, fielded cleanly by Nielsen, who throws to first base, in time for the out, and the inning is over. But Algona does tack on 7 runs. Bishop Garrigan, tacks on 9 runs here as Bishop Garrigan will bat next. 20-0 Bulldogs as we move to the 4th on Hometown Radio KLGA and at the Algona Radio YouTube stream.
More sports club members.
Lusher Family Dentistry, serving your family since 1965 on Call Street in Algona.
Algona Plumbing and Heating, where a good flush beats a full house.
Kasuth Regional Health Center, your home for health care.
Walker Chiropractic and Wellness, caring for Algona, Sway City, and surrounding areas with chiropractic, nutritional, and physical therapy services.
Reeves Wicked Good Bar and Grill, for wicked good food, drinks, and service. You gotta go to Reeves.
High Point Land Company, your trusted land partner in Algona.
All bringing you this game on the radio.
Thank you to these sports club members bringing you this game on Hometown Home Country Radio.
CB Grain Solutions, satisfaction guaranteed.
Dump It, Kasuth County's local and reliable waste service provider for commercial and residential customers.
Albert Electric, flip the switch to Albert Electric.
Billy Offerman, your State Farm agent in Algona. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Greg Penning and Company, certified public accountants where everyone counts.
Daylight Donuts, open early with delicious donuts and great coffee.
All bringing you this game on the radio.
We move to the top of the fourth here on Hometown Radio KLGA and at the Algona Radio YouTube stream. Last chance time here for the Bishop Garrigan Golden Bears potentially as the Algona Bulldogs lead 20-0 and can invoke the run rule here if they're able to stop the Golden Bears this inning. Zoe Montag, Jenna Peterson, and Hannah Marin, 2, 3, 4 in the Bishop Garrigan batting order, set to hit. As Montag, the lefty, reached on an error her first time up. And that one will be down and away for ball one.
Well, 20-0. I mean, I'd love to see the Bears rip off 20 runs here and make this interesting. But at this point, you got to be just taking it one pitch at a time and working on those at-bats, just trying to get better here in the last few outs you got.
Pitch by Trunkhill, and there's a cut and a miss by Montag as the count evens at 1-1. Well, Bishop Garrigan has won the Crosstown game the past 4 seasons, and they've seen a different pitcher, Ryan Haynes, each of those 4 seasons. They're seeing Trunkhill tonight for the first time, and certainly Haynes pitched in some low-scoring games against the Golden Bears, some pitchers' duels that just went the way of Bishop Garrigan as there's a roller towards second base. Speaking of which, Haynes bobbles, though, and she can't pick it up. That'll be another E4 as Montag reaches aboard safely.
Zoe Montag, such an interesting player. She bats from the left-hand side of the plate. Last night, she just ripped a home run over the right field fence, but we often see her drag bunt or slap hit over the third baseman's head, but she's swinging away there and uses that speed. Very quick down the line is Montag, also a state track participant.
Jenna Peterson, who threw the discus at state track, cuts and misses at that first offering to make it an 0-1 count. Runner at first base is Montag. Nobody away here for the Golden Bears in the 4th inning. Montag's been aboard twice.
A lot of sisters on the field tonight. The Haynes girls are sisters, correct?
Yep, they're sisters. The Van Tiger sisters are out there.
Tiger sisters, and we have the Peterson sisters for the Bears.
Squaring around a bunt, and Peterson did offer at that one. She couldn't get the bat back. That's an 0-2 count on a pitch that was going to be down and away.
And then also the Nielsen sisters for the Bears. So, boy, that's a unique situation here in the wide world of Algona and the local area.
And at one point, it would have been even another pair because Casey Van Otterloo and Taylor Van Otterloo, although Casey, not out for softball this year, but Taylor Van Otterloo getting some action here tonight as there's a foul back to the screen. It's a 0-2 count here on Peterson.
That baseball game is cruising along well, but the Bulldogs put on another run. If my eyes are correct, 3-1. Can you see that?
Your eyes are indeed correct, Beanie.
Good.
I can confirm it with my 2020. That game, baseball game, heading to the top of the 7th right now as the pitch goes to the backstop as Montag will cruise up to second base. Yeah, non-conference game over on the baseball diamond for Algona leading 3-1. The Bulldog baseball team faces Newman Catholic tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. Peterson back into the box behind in the count 1-2 against Trunkhill.
Well, up 20-0 to say the least. The Bulldog defense is not worried about Montag out there.
There's a pop foul coming back behind home plate. And that one is going to find the stands, as you heard in the background. The catch was not made by the fans here tonight.
It found a gap. I think looks like Gabby Penton was in the vicinity, Madeline Tigas, but they didn't reach for it. Is that? We got to bring your gloves to the ballpark. I think that might have been Merle Dodds had a chance to. He ended up with it, so he caught it off the bounce. Nice catch by Mr. Dodds.
There's a tapper down towards first base, and that is foul, as we'll do it again if a 1-2 count on Peterson. Well, we saw a couple fans earlier tonight go for a home run ball, and they couldn't make the catch. And after that, I think everyone took it as a cautionary tale and backed off. We have not seen a lot of highlight reel catches in the crowd here tonight on foul balls.
That's right. You know, I tell you, when they started with these fluorescent green balls, I was a little put off by it. But now I've come to really appreciate it. Moving from that white ball to the fluorescent green, you can see it a lot better as it flies around this field.
Yeah, you can certainly see it on a cloudy night like this, too. I wonder how that kind of compares to the players on a sunny day where the sunshine's blaring down on you in left field compared to a white ball, but I would imagine they all get used to it. 2-2 to Peterson downstairs. Montag stealing third. Throw down there is bobbled, and Montag is safe. That throw by Haynes was a little low, and Dunning couldn't pick it out as Montag able to swipe the bag at third.
Now, Tyler, we both like traditions, so it is hard for me to say that I like the fluorescent green ball, but I don't think I could handle it if baseball went that route.
That would be different. I can tell you that for sure. The 3-2 pitch, down and away for ball 4. I don't know if you've done any talking with the Iowa High School Athletic Association, but I have not heard any rumors of a new green ball in baseball.
Well, I mean, would you see the seams differently? I suppose so. It would be much different, but I suppose you can make them any color you want.
Well, if you start a new baseball league, you can make it Cyclone colors, Hawkeye colors, whatever you want. It'll be Marin batting for Bishop Garrigan, who homered and doubled last night as she fouls it straight back to the screen.
Well, I know all teams probably have a color ball in their equipment, so the pitchers can see that rotation as they work on their different spins. I'm sure softball has something equivalent, but we don't see a lot of high school pitchers messing around with spin too much.
The wind in the 0-1 by Trunk Hill. Marin fought about it, but let it go. Now stealing second is Peterson, and the tag is applied, and Peterson is out at second base. Gunned down by Reagan Haynes. The Golden Bears did not think that she was going to throw through, but she did, and that is out number 1 of the inning.
Yeah, often first and third, especially up 20-0. It's usually a freebie, and that's what the Bears thought, but Haynes says, nuh-uh, this is my field, and she throws down there with authority, gets Jenna Peterson on trying to swipe second base.
1-1 pitch. Marin blasts that in the air pretty deep towards center field. Back it goes towards the fence, and it's out of here. For the second night in a row, Hannah Marin homers, and Bishop Garrigan is on the scoreboard. That'll make it a 20-2 ball game, and Marin with her 9th career home run for Bishop Garrigan.
And she hustles around the base path. Last night it was pretty awesome. She took her time and trots, but she knows they're down big. She just gets it done, hits it out of the park, hustles around, scores her run, gets back to the dugout. But the Bears are on the board, got 2 runs. Nice job by Marin parking one in the deepest part of the field, right over the flagpole there in center field.
And that was 1 pitch after Haynes gunned down the runner at second base. Reagan Haynes in her career, you look back to her 8th grade year, threw out 8 out of 16 potential base stealers. Last year threw out 8 out of 19 potential base stealers, and gets her first caught stealing of the year tonight, followed by that Marin blast to dead center field. Not quite as windy as it was earlier tonight either, as Erpeling-Wickman cuts and misses at the first offering for strike 1.
Well, we see the home run ball has been gathered and is getting hiked back to the field of play by one Nick Lear. You recognize that guy anywhere. He's about 8 feet tall.
0-1 pitch. There's a swing and a miss by Erpeling-Wickman, and the count goes to 0-2.
So the Bear boys clearly not playing tonight, as I see a lot of them here to cheer on the girls, including one Nick Lear who's coming up here with the home run ball. I'm sure they practiced earlier.
The wind in the 0-2. There's a swing and a miss by Erpeling-Wickman. Went fishing for one, down and in. And the Golden Bears down to their final out here, trailing 20-2. Well, the Bishop Garrigan baseball team swept their doubleheader over Belmont Clemmy last night, 9-0 and 10-0.
Carly Nielsen.
They're going to be playing Lake Mills on Friday night in their next conference game. As Carly Nielsen, 0-1 tonight, represents the last hope for the Golden Bears. Trunk Hill working with the bases empty, 20-2 Algona, as Nielsen with a first pitch swing and a miss for strike 1. Nielsen right-handed hitting junior for Bishop Garrigan. This is a small junior class on the Bishop Garrigan softball team. You've got a handful of seniors, you have a lot of freshmen and 8th graders, and then Nielsen, one of the players holding it down for the junior class. The 0-1 pitch in there for a called strike, and Nielsen behind 0-2.
Yeah, youth is definitely the theme here on the Bishop Garrigan team. A lot of youngsters on that dugout, but Nielsen has got a lot of softball in front of her, so a lot of good players on that team.
Trunk Hill rocks and delivers the 0-2 pitch. There's a swing and a miss by Nielsen, and that is strike 3. The ball game comes to an end, and Algona wins the Crosstown Showdown here in emphatic fashion. 20-2, your final score here tonight. We'll break for a timeout and wrap it up after this on Hometown Radio KLGA and the Algona Radio YouTube stream.
Where you bank matters. Hi, I'm Sherry Bacon at Security State Bank, and we're relationship bankers. We get to know our customers and understand their financial needs. We're locally owned and operated, which means family, community, and service always comes first. So come to Security State Bank. We'll treat you like family. Security State Bank in Algona, Burt, and Laverne. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Security State Bank.
For over 40 years, Northwest Iowa bone, joint, and sports surgeons have maintained one mission: to provide excellence in orthopedic care. Their team of 9 physicians offers specialized care in everything from arthroscopic same-day surgery to joint replacement, as well as hand and foot surgery, and have an orthopedic surgeon on call 24/7. Healthcare isn't about appointments, it's about taking care of people, and that's their specialty. Visit Northwest Iowa Bone, Joint, and Sports Surgeons on the web at nwiabone.com.
Players, put your pinky rings up to the moon. Girls, what y'all trying to do? 24 karat.
Back here to wrap this one up from Algona High School, where tonight the Algona Bulldogs win in dominating fashion. Final score over the Bishop Garrigan Golden Bears, 20-2, as the Bulldogs win their opening game of the season and Bishop Garrigan falls to 0-2. We'll take a quick look at a few stats here for tonight. It started off in the bottom of the first inning, where Algona scored 11 runs, and it was off to the races after that. The Bulldogs also scored 9 runs in the third inning, Bishop Garrigan getting their lone 2 in the top of the fourth to account for the final total tonight of 20-2. Unofficially by my scorebook, I only had Bishop Garrigan down for 1 hit tonight. You had Zoe Montag reach on a couple of errors, but then it was that 2-run homer by Hannah Marin, accounting for the lone hit for the Golden Bears. On the Bulldogs side of things, 20 runs on 17 hits. You had a lot of good performances, but that top of the lineup did a ton of damage here tonight. Caitlin Burns was aboard base all 4 times. She went 2 for 2 with a couple of base hits and a couple of walks. You had Allison Trunkhill tonight, 4 for 4 with 3 extra base hits, including her first career home run. Reagan Haynes tonight finished 3 for 4. She homered as well for the Bulldogs and knocked in 4. And Maya Lentz, 4 for 4 in this ball game with a couple of triples, a couple of singles, and 3 RBI. And it really wasn't just them, it was up and down the lineup. And on the Algona side of things to start off, a lot of good at-bats, a lot of hard-hit balls, didn't swing at a lot of pitches out of the strike zone and really hit gap to gap. And it was really a 1-through-9 performance, which is something that Algona was looking for. Of course, you want your 1-through-4 to be great, but when you get a 1-through-9 performance like that, you're going to be hard to beat on a nightly basis.
Just unbelievable hitting. If you're a Bulldog and didn't get a hit tonight, boy, you missed out on the fun night and you're at the field. And if you're a Bear that got a hit, well, then you're Hannah Marin. Only hit collected by the Bears is that 1 home run by Hannah Marin. Just so complete different nights for both teams. One team hitting the cover off the ball. The other team couldn't find a way to put that ball in play. And wow, hats off to Allison Trunkhill. You can't get, well, I suppose you can. You can get a better line if you have a no-hitter, but she pitches a 1-hitter and goes 4 for 4 at the plate with a home run and a couple doubles. That is a pretty unbelievable beginning of the season for that Bulldog pitcher.
Yeah, and that's the thing that maybe gets overlooked on a night like tonight when you have a game where so many runs are scored, the pitching gets overlooked a little bit, but it was a good night in that frame. 4 innings pitched, no walks, and 4 strikeouts as the Bulldogs take this one 20-2. We're going to step aside for a quick timeout here. We'll interview a couple Bulldogs when we come back on Hometown Radio, KLGA.
More sports club members.
Lusher Family Dentistry, serving your family since 1965 on Call Street in Algona.
Algona Plumbing and Heating, where a good flush beats a full house.
Kasuth Regional Health Center, your home for health care.
Walker Chiropractic and Wellness, caring for Algona, Sway City, and surrounding areas with chiropractic, nutritional, and physical therapy services.
Reeves Wicked Good Bar and Grill, for wicked good food, drinks, and service, you gotta go to Reeves.
High Point Land Company, your trusted land partner in Algona.
All bringing you this game on the radio.
All right, we're going to come back here on Hometown Radio KLGA and interview a couple of the Algona Bulldogs tonight who helped contribute to the 20-2 win in the Crosstown Showdown against Bishop Garrigan. We're joined right now by starting pitcher Allison Trunkhill. Allison, first of all, before we talk about tonight's game, just take me through your offseason preparation coming into the year. What did your throwing look like over the winter, and how did you feel that went leading into the season?
I was pretty lucky. I got to play on a travel team, so I got all the year-round practice. It was a lot of fun, but once we started up the school pitching, I put in the work, get on the weekends, on the days off, after school, whenever time I had. Always pitching, always practicing.
Well, you and Ryan really complemented each other really well in the pitching circle last year. Can you sort of speak on the way that you two maybe compete in practice a little bit and help get each other better?
Yeah, it's always a good, fun competition. It's always, you want to go with the pitchers who's hot. Sometimes it's barely a difference between who's hot and who's not. So it's a lot of fun competition, a lot of practicing together to see who's doing what.
Well, you had to wait 1 extra day for the season to get started. Last night's game against Newman Catholic getting rained out, so you have the Crosstown game here to open up the season. What's the excitement like going to a game that's not only season opener, but it's the game, a Crosstown rivalry tonight?
It was a lot of fun, a lot of pressure, a lot of nerves before the game were quickly diminished after those first innings when we were hitting pretty good, pitching pretty good, everything was going great, defense was awesome, so nothing to complain about.
Well, you set the tone there for a scoreless first inning for Algona, and then, like you said, the bats really took care of it after that. And we'll kind of talk about your offensive night here tonight because you had that first extra base hit initially and then a home run later in the same inning. Just take me through, I guess, what it was like. What did it feel like when you saw that ball clear the fence for that home run?
I was pretty happy to see some guy on the other side of the fence catch it so then I didn't have to sprint the rest of the way. But it's always fun to hit a home run. This is my first varsity home run, so it's really a lot of interesting and very fun.
A 4-for-4 night at the plate, and part of that, too, that was impressive is, hitting to center field and hitting to the opposite field. Can you take me through that approach of, you can still have that extra base power without pulling everything?
Yeah, most right-handed hitters are going to go to that left side, so it's really hard more difficult for right-handed hitters to opposite, but it's different for the outfielders to be able to take out of that. So it's a lot more interesting it's difficult to hit out to left or right field.
Absolutely. Well, Allison, congratulations on the big win here tonight. We'll get that headset over to Reagan here, but thanks for stopping by. That's Algona's Allison Trunkhill, the starting pitcher and the winner in tonight's game in the box score. Also had a 4-for-4 night. And we're going to be joined by our battery mate here, Reagan Haynes, joining us here on Hometown Radio KLGA. Reagan, first of all, obviously hitting kind of seemed contagious here tonight, but just take me through the early stages of that game. When did you guys kind of know it was going to be a special night offensively?
I feel like the first inning when you just we all just kept getting solid contact, and it just kept going down the order, and we got through multiple times in the first inning, and I think everyone just started feeling good.
Well, we could go for a lot of different at-bats, but let's go for that home run. No doubt about it to left field. I guess, first of all, did you know as soon as it left the batter, did you have to kind of, judge it a little bit there before you knew it was going out?
Usually I just look at the reaction of, the first base coach or everyone else around me, and yeah.
Well, Reagan, talk to me a bit about kind of being that, middle of the order hitter for the Bulldogs. This is nothing new for you, but what's your sort of mindset, kind of being relied on to be that run producer in the middle of the order?
I just like to put contact out there somewhere to, cause some sort of chaos, because usually our first and second get up there and they're on, and then I just want to get them around somehow.
Well, Reagan, a good night pitching-wise as well for Allison Trunkhill. What's the chemistry like between you and her? I guess you're working up a couple different pitchers, but, when you kind of work with Allison, what do you think makes that connection click?
We just played a lot together during fall ball and spring ball, and she's been working really hard, and her pitching's just gotten us so much better. So she plays a big part in our team.
Well, obviously, kind of a delayed start to the season like we were talking about with Allison. No game last night against Newman Catholic due to the rain, so you get it started here tonight. I guess, was it frustrating last night to have that first game of the season rained out, and did you guys feel like you kind of took a little bit of that out tonight?
Yeah, we, after yesterday, we just kind of got together and did some team bonding today, and it just probably made us feel a lot more confident in our, stuff.
Well, a game like this can certainly be a good tone setter for the season, but wrapping up the interview here, what kind of expectations do you have for the Bulldogs this year, and what are you girls sort of hoping to accomplish this season?
Well, we just want to,
More games like this is what you want to accomplish, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Well, Reagan, a great game tonight. Congratulations to you and the Bulldogs for winning this one, and we'll talk to you later in the season, but thank you so much for stopping by. That was Algona's Reagan Haynes here on Hometown Radio KLGA as we're going to sign off here for tonight. Again, the crosstown game final score, this one 20-2. Our broadcast for tomorrow night is going to be the Algona baseball game as the Bulldogs take on Newman Catholic. So we will have that game tomorrow night for you here on Hometown Radio KLGA and at the Algona Radio YouTube stream. As that'll get underway, we will have a first pitch of 7 o'clock, and the pregame coverage will get underway around 6:50, 6:55. And of course, if they start early tomorrow night as well, we'll start early too. But as of right now, that's what's on the schedule for tomorrow night with Algona baseball taking on Newman Catholic. Then on Friday night, it'll be over to Bishop Garrigan, over to Lake Mills really, as the Golden Bears baseball team takes on Lake Mills. We will have that game for you as well on Friday night at 7:30. So next couple of nights here on KLGA and at the Algona Radio YouTube stream. That'll do it for tonight. The Algona Bulldogs win their season opener 20-2 over the Bishop Garrigan Golden Bears. Golden Bears will drop to 0-2 on the season, and they will regroup for Friday as they take on Lake Mills. We'll sign off for tonight. Big thank you once more to our video streaming sponsors, Algona Municipal Utilities, PMC Advantage Insurance Services, Iowa State Bank, Chemna Auto Center, and Algona Frame and Auto Body. This has been a sports production of Hometown Radio KLGA and at the Algona Radio YouTube live stream.